Y'all know y'all mess me up. But anyway, the reason that it took me years to learn, I had to go back and understand what I did as to how I allowed myself to be in that relationship and to the things that I believed about myself and why I put up with it. Okay. I put up with it, like you mentioned, you had some guilt, right? So your motivation was guilt. Mine was shame. Mine was shame at the notion that everything on paper looked like this relationship should work. So why wasn't it working? And what was wrong with me as to why the relationship wasn't working?
So most females are like that. Our relationships are built like that because I don't that my relationship didn't work.
Right. And this was the thing that I found, that I realized one day. Who in the hell was I ashamed in front of? I didn't know nobody had never been in a failed relationship. So I'm ashamed in front of my mama, my aunties, my cousins, my friends.
Yeah.
They all have failed relationships. What I'm ashamed for? I don't know nobody who have a failed relationship. So I was ashamed just for the simple fact that I was ashamed. I had to let it go. And look, it's one of the things that has served me well and served me better than almost anything else, and that was letting go of shame. Because shame will have you trying to hide things, have you putting up with stuff in secret. And guilt. They both, and they cousins, they first cousins, right? Right. They're gonna have you operating together in the same way, because you're gonna hide things, you're gonna put up with things you shouldn't put up with, you're gonna say things and do things that you know you shouldn't be doing, and all of that for the sake of an appearance. And it's not really
that's the thing. That's relationship. Our relationships are built off of that one thing, appearance.
Yeah.
That appearance means a lot.
Yeah.
Even though it really don't mean a lot when you sit back and look at it, but in our mind, it means a lot.
Well, and what we do is we want the appearance. It's like social media, right? If you look on social media, everybody's life is good, right? Everybody's a Kardashian. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's happy. Everything is good. Everybody living a life. Oh, I'm living my best life. I ain't going back and forth with you, whatever. I'm living my best life yet. Not. Because let me tell you something. Everybody's human and everybody got problems and challenges and everything. Everybody got insecurities. Everybody got the same. There's nobody, I don't care. And listen, and money don't fix it. Just so you know, sir.
No,
okay. It don't fix it.
Let me tell you about. Let me tell you about that friend called. That friend called money can be your best enemy. It can be your worst enemy. Because back in the days of having a lot of money, it corrupted me into an addiction that nothing else mattered, nothing else cared, nothing else even remotely even fathom. I thought I was bigger than God.
They can't do.
Oh, I was promoting Coca-Cola.
Yeah, we can't promote Coca-Cola.
But my thing is,
they don't pay us.
When me and men get in relationships, especially long relationships, and we're bound by guilt, humiliation. We make these promises. That's why I tell men when they get out of prison, don't go to the woman, court the woman, because you don't know who she is while you was in prison. You don't know she don't know who you are while you was in prison. So when you get out, y'all get to know all the quirks and twerks and things of that magnitude that's gonna make or break the relationship, but it's gonna save you a lot of problems, a lot of heartache. And like the brother said, he been 6 months free. Man, I commend him just for getting 6 months free, because some of us men get into this Stockholm syndrome. It's not just women.
That's right.
It's men also. We get in these Stockholm syndrome type relationships where we're abused, and we're trying to figure out what can we do different to make the relationships better.
And the reality is something else that he said too, which is another reality, which is it becomes an addiction. It can very easily become an addiction, and the only way to stop it is to treat it like an addiction. The first thing anybody with an addiction has to do is acknowledge that there's a problem. Yeah. That's the first thing you got to do is acknowledge, oh, this ain't cool. This ain't, I thought this was a risk. This is salty. This is not good. This is not fun. Yeah. It's not working for me. I'm not happy with it. I'm not enjoying this, right? And once you first admit that, then the first thing you got to do, then after that, you got to start examining yourself. Why am I participating? Yeah. That's when I got the most healing and the most help and grew the most, was once I was willing to look at myself. As long as I was pointing the finger at him, them three that was pointing back at me was where all the answers was. Pointing my finger at him only made me feel bad. Trying to figure out why he do me like this. I don't know why he did me. Because you let him. Duh.
You know, I have never had a real relationship in my whole life.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Because when you say, like, when you say, Chris, you was in and out the system, this man been in and out the system his whole life too, right? He made a conscious choice, though, not to have relationships, because his thing was, he knew he was always going back to jail.
But I want to know what was your
Yeah, what was it? That's a great question. What was the thing that told you enough is enough, it's time for a change? Awesome.
I want to make sure I did everything possible to make it work. But the real aha was, I realized that I was creating a healthy environment. My decision to force something had a negative impact.
Yeah.
When they expressed to me, they understood what's going on, because I was transparent with them about the decisions I had made, and this is part of the consequences. I realized they're going to be all right.
And how old are they?
I have 4, 21, 19, 18, 14, my youngest. 14.
Oh, yeah.
He's probably the sharpest one out of all.
Okay, the sharpest knife in the book. I heard that.
You know, I tell people all the time, you spend so much time trying to hide things from your kids. You know, as I have expressed before, my mother has no idea the magnitude of the stuff that I saw. Whether I was with her or I was with my uncles, I was literally the advisor, the counselor, the accountant, you know.
Helping them fix the scale.
You know what?
Right.
I mean, you know.
Yeah.
You know, when I said the first time I said, you know, how pissed I was that day listening. I'm in the living room and I'm 8 and I'm sitting there, but I was a math genius, but I'm sitting there in the living room, probably not no further than I am from you and this little pony wall, and listening to my mother and my mother's boyfriend try to figure out how to work this scale to get this dough count right. And I'm thinking, damn, it's such and such and such. But I know I can't say that, you know, because I know I'd have got my neck chopped off.
Right.
But you have no idea, you know, every single time I speak and I say the things that I have seen, the things that I have witnessed. The first time I saw a dead body, I just had this conversation with my uncle, and he's like, what? And I'm like, I'm only regurgitating. The first time I saw a dead body, I was 3 years old. But if I close my eyes, I can take you back there. I can take you back to the smell in the mortuary. I can take you back to the noise. You have no idea how much your kids are listening, how much they're watching. And I was a quiet observer, and I saw everything.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Did you have that photographic memory like you do now?
Yeah.
That must have been a bitch.
You know, you have to learn to live with the things that are inside of you.
Yeah.
Or they will tear you apart. And so when we talk about me and my compartmentalization, I learned to live with those things because they're not going away. When I try to make them go away, I'm going to bed at 9 o'clock, and at 4 a.m. I'm still up. I'm not counting sheep. I'm not counting anything. I'm up, transcended in those thoughts and those memories because I'm trying to make them go away. If I then I feel like, okay, I'm gonna set it over here. It's not because it's really a part of me. But you have no idea how much your kids are watching. I tell friends, you trying to stay there till the kids turn 18. No, sir, right. You know, and then you create, you know, I have a friend, he has a son and he has a daughter. While his son is autistic, he's still no dummy. But his daughter is sitting there like, when you leaving?
See.
You know, and he's like, well, what are you talking about? But they're watching every single solitary move that you make. And you either are teaching them how to make good mistakes or you're teaching them how to make bad mistakes. And when it comes to the relationship, you're teaching your son, and I'm not putting this on you, but if you're abusive, you teaching your son to put his hands on her. You're teaching your son that he can abuse her, he can talk to her crazy, he can say whatever he wants, and then you teaching your daughter that she has to accept that.
Or worse, and the other way around, that you have to take this as a man, you have to allow her to verbally abuse you and all of that, and either however it goes, because yes.
Of by women, and then women get on a power trip. I mean, there's so many different caveats to this that you don't understand, that your children are watching and they emulate you so much.
And this is the thing about it, right? So my mother was, so I've often explained that my dad got on heroin, and my aunt and my uncle. My mom took my 3 cousins, put my dad out, and we all got raised together. Okay. But my watching my mother's thing was she wasn't going to have a bunch of men in and out of the house over the kids. Absolutely. Because that's just not what we do. Right. And that was fine. And my mother was very good at telling me what not to tolerate. Okay. So I knew I wasn't taking care of no man. I knew I had to have pay my own way. So I didn't have to be subject to somebody else. And I knew a lot of that. But what I didn't know was what I should have. And it was equally as painful to learn what things I should expect, what I should require, because it took me to get into my 50s to realize, let me step back and say this. In my teens, I got introduced to a spiritual teaching that has raised me, and I use that as the basis for how I should be as a woman. So I learned my place, my function from a spiritual standpoint. And I practiced it. I got that down to a science. Got it, right? Check, done. But wait a minute, what make him worthy? Who the heck checking his boxes and shit? What? I didn't even know that he had to have no boxes checked. Okay. So it was like, okay. And what was really bad is because my dad, my earliest memories of him are not him in an addiction, but him in recovery. So what it did was it made me, as long as I understood what your problem was, I gave you a pass for everything. Well, that ain't so. That's not even right. Because if I'm worried about what you're going through, you worried about what you're going through. Who worried about what I'm going through? Who's taking care of me? So I realized in that painful situation that I was responsible for my heart. I was responsible for that. But it was equally as devastating not to know what an example looked like. So I have a friend, and I encouraged him to marry his wife. Why did I encourage him to marry her? Because they had been together since she was 15 years old. And by the time they were having the second child, she was really acting out. And I said to him, because she doesn't want to be your baby mama. She doesn't want to be that. She wants to be your wife. And so he did marry her, but then they spent the next 18, 19 years arguing and carrying on over top of their children. And I'm really concerned now that their children have a terrible idea of what being married is supposed to be about. Because at the end of the day, they spent all this time looking at people arguing with each other. They stayed together.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And they function in that dysfunction. And now they think that that's normal, that they should argue with each other and carry on. And it's not normal. And even children of a very young age, children of young ages, even if they don't have the words, they could feel it. Why? Because we are their parents. As their parents, there is a DNA connection that you can't get away from.
You know, some people that, like my mom and dad, love to fight. I'm serious. That, you know, all my life I remember that. I mean, they went out and partied and all that, but basically they love to fight. I told you about the time he knocked her under the bed. Because my dad, one word you couldn't call him. You couldn't call him a motherfucker. And he beat up Christ over that.
And she knew it.
First word when they got drunk, you're a motherfucker. Well, my dad was a big guy, and my mother was only like 4 something. He hit her and slid her under the bed. I mean, that's how hard he hit her. And he sat down on the bed and he told me I cried because I figured I killed her. And he said, the next thing I know, she grabbed the edge of the bed and stuck her head out. And what do you think the first word she said? You're still a motherfucker.
Okay.
You know what I mean? That was them.
And listen, let me tell you something. And that's the tragedy. There are people who like to fight. So I was on so at the Hollywood Bowl, they had these concerts and they had these buses that you could take a bus from a remote location, so you don't have to park over there and all that. So this is the bus out of Compton, your neighborhood, and
Our neighborhood,
y'all's neighborhood, you and him. So anyway, get on the bus. So when we get on the bus and we wait to leave the Hollywood Bowl to come back, this couple, they get to arguing, and I'm talking about when I say not just arguing, but she is hitting him. She is bolo. I'm talking about it was really bad. They was on the last seat of the bus. So the people that run the bus system, they called the cops. And the cops was like, look, you know, if y'all not going, we need to pull y'all off this bus or what? You know? So they was like, no. Okay. So then we get on the road and they start fighting again. So there's probably like a 35 minute ride or something like that, maybe a little bit longer because we're on the bus. But at one point I turn around and look, and they are hugged up, squeezed up, hugging on each other in the back of the bus. I was done. I said, let me tell you something. I said, that's what they like to do. And my thing is this. I say this, if y'all like to fight, what I say they like to fight and fuck, because that makeup sex for them is the best thing ever.
Wow.
So, okay. Hey, that's April done pulled up on us. What's happening? Life is good. Wow. So anyway, but I'm thinking, okay, they like that makeup sex, they like that fight, and they like all that kind of stuff. And my thing is this: do that shit at home. Don't bring that out in public. Don't make me witness you fighting with each other and all that kind of stuff. That's not good. But even kids, just back to children, even when they're really small, they could feel the tension in the air. They know when something is not right. So even if you think you hiding it, and you think another thing, I have another family that I know of where the mother and father always went behind closed doors and had their fights. And that may sound like a good thing, but now the son, grown up, wife and 2 kids, he don't even know how to have a disagreement. He don't know what to say when he don't like he doesn't know what to say. He doesn't know what to do. And he has no communication at all behind him having grown up in a situation where they just didn't express it in front of the children. Now, there's a medium between having your conversations, having your disagreements, and having what your parents did, which was all that, knock down, drag out, hitting each other and carrying on.
Joycey?
Uh-huh.
Joycey told her first husband, if you hit me, it's once. It's over. There's no coming back. And she voiced him. And she told the second one the same thing.
Yeah.
You hit me once. She said, you can burn the house down, kick your foot for
Don't put your hands on me.
Just don't put your hands on me. I mean, she seen what happened to mama, and she said, that's not going to happen to me.
And see, that's an example, like I say, of my mother telling me what wasn't going to happen.
And this is what I hear it, I understand it. I don't put my hands on women, but I do have a very sharp tongue.
Yeah.
And I will say something real fast. But while I was in prison, I used to watch Steve Harvey. And when I watched Steve Harvey, every time he had a slogan, and it was, you teach people how to treat you.
That's right.
And I said it over and over and over. And one day I just laid on my bed, my TV off, and I said, what the fuck is teaching you how to treat me? You know, I'm a bastard. But then I'm gonna learn how to do this shit right. And I started taking that to the groups with me. And then I sat up there with my wife. My wife, she passed 2019. And I told her, I said, you know what? She said, what? She said, my son, he's doing. I said, no, you teaching him how to treat you. If you don't like what he's doing, put his fucking ass out. I said, let me explain something, because if you call the police on me, I'm gone. I'm gonna teach you how to treat me. I'm out the door. I'm not gonna put my hands on you because I'm a big dude. And I know what I'm capable of doing. My mind triggers like that. I didn't go to jail for shooting Marvin. I know I'm going to the end.
Right.
But the thing about it was, I see all these relationships now, and my son has a relationship, and him and his girl, and I set them both down. I said, now what have you told him that you don't like? And I said, now what have you told her that you don't like? I said, now both of y'all know that y'all don't like these things. Why the fuck is y'all together?
Right. And if you see, it's okay. A lot of times I did a one thing that I did at the Francisco Homes years ago. It was a whole session on confrontation.
Yeah.
Because people think that confrontation in and of itself is bad. But the definition of confrontation is to address a situation directly and honestly. What the hell is wrong with that? Nothing. There's nothing wrong with that, right? But we make it a negative automatically. That confrontation is something that is not to be, we need to avoid it at all costs. No, what you need to do is, because guess what? You could put something up under the rug all you want, and eventually it's just going to be a bunch of stuff, and then it's going to explode. And when you go back under there and look at it, it's a hot mess. Okay, no matter how much you try to agree, how much you try to go along to get along, no matter how many times you try to adjust your behavior, because that's the one thing I found out in that relationship, is that it didn't matter how much I tried to adjust my behavior to make this person satisfied with the relationship. The issue was, it had nothing to do with me in the first place. It was how he felt about him. It didn't have nothing to do with me. So there was nothing I could do that was going to make him feel comfortable, because he didn't want to be comfortable. What he wanted was what he had, which was he had access to me and the freedom to do whatever the hell he wanted when he got ready. Well, I had to value me enough to say, hold up, Swallow. You can't take advantage of having me around all of my time, monopolizing my time, and at the same time, then you get to come and go as you please. That don't work. But I taught him it was okay. Right. I taught him it was okay by participating. When he told me very early on, he was honest. I am not looking for a relationship. I don't want to be in a relationship. My response at that point should have been, good information to have. And I see you when I see you.
You got the rose-colored glasses on.
Listen, baby, they was rose-colored. They was rosy as they ever come. And look, because I was trying to make it work. I was going, this was
One thing good about you, Noreen?
Huh?
You're a good teacher.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Oden. But the fact of the matter was, I had rose-colored glasses on, and I wasn't paying attention. I didn't know again that I should require something of him. See, for him to have access to my time, I didn't even know that had a value. That actually has a value. Everybody shouldn't be able to get me on this phone. Everybody ain't in that position.
That's one
You
big
see what I'm saying?
value.
But I didn't know that at the time. So when he called, I answered. Why? Let me tell y'all why. He was fine in the motherfucker, y'all. He was fine in the motherfucker, y'all. He was fine. He wanted to be.
Wow.
Look, baby. And oh my goodness. And he had the right kind of job. He was a supervisor at the hospital. He was a respiratory therapist. He was 6'2". Chocolate. Whatever
Wow.
I paper that I wanted, that's what he was. But guess what? He had him out to a hill of goddamn beans. All it was enough to send me.
You ain't got over him.
Huh?
You haven't got over him.
But the bottom line is that I thought that, and mind you, this was somebody. The truth of the matter is, we spent a lot of time, believe it or not, on our spiritual teaching. And that in and of itself was an aphrodisiac. The fact that we spent a lot of time talking about things that really meant something was another reason why I couldn't understand why it didn't work. But he didn't want the responsibility. He wanted the benefits without the responsibility. And what I was doing is I was giving him, I taught him it was okay because I didn't require him, well, if you want these panties, boy, you at least got to commit. You see what I'm saying? You might kiss me on the cheek if you just want a friend, but if you want some panties, this is what I should have been saying. Right? But I did. And so what wound up happening is and this is the ugly part. Every time I would get to the point where I would say, I'm out of here, he would chase me down like a dog. He would chase me. He would try to give me anything that I had been asking for. Little things like, I want to go meet your brother. I asked for 6 months. I never got to meet his brother. When I walked away from him one time, he gonna call me. Yeah. Well, I want to take you to go meet my brother. Like anything that I said that I wanted, it was always dangling a carrot in my face and then moving the finish line. Oh, only if you do this, only if you do that. If you do this, then everything will be whatever.
But you got to remember, one thing about it was he told you up front.
That's the thing.
He didn't want, and I know, because I would tell women all the time, but they would see the glory and the glam, the cars, the houses, the going to the finest restaurants. You know, it wasn't it. They don't know that it's just
that
I'm treating myself.
Well, see. Oh, that's a valuable point. Oh, that's so important.
I'm treating myself.
I try to tell people all the time. Listen, especially if you're dealing with any lady out there listening. Okay, if you're dealing with a man that have a lot of money, and he take you to the movies, and he take you to Ruth's Chris or Maestro's or wherever he taking you, right? He was going there anyway, but it didn't have nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
It wasn't because he wanted to, it was something special to be with you. It was because he was going, and you just happened to be the company that he wanted that particular day. At that moment, in that moment. And guess what?
Or you might do a little twist in bed that made me go, ooh.
Oh, hey, you might hit that spot.
Thing that might,
right, put you over the top.
Yeah,
Right. It's going to get you
a little bit over than the other girl.
What it's going to do is it's going to get you extra.
That's all it was.
What it's going to do is going to get you an extra pair of dirty panties. That's it. But you ain't got nothing else coming.
Well, see, for me, and this was my tail tip. I tell you, look, right now, relationships is not in my forefront. And let me ask you this: was they ever? No.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't looking for marriage. Wasn't looking for none of that.
But Pete Game, it wasn't never in the cards. Okay, well, go ahead.
But the thing of it was,
you didn't hear that.
The women that I dated, all I thought understood, but all of them had an agenda to try to be that one to make me change my mind. And that's where women make their mistake, is because when a man's mind is made up,
It's made
if
up.
I'm sitting up here with millions of dollars in a big, beautiful house and cars, what the hell I need you for?
But this is another thing I want to give you another possibility too. And I'm gonna come to you in just a second, Chris, but I want to give you another possibilities too, because I never thought I could make him make me be the one. I didn't have that thought. First of all, I was young, okay? What I did think is that I could handle it. I thought I could handle it. I thought I could, because the one time that my mother did decide to show me, I was about 14, I was the last of the kids, and she decided to show me her relationship. It was a quote unquote open relationship. So to me, it looked like that should be normal. I should be able to handle that. What I didn't remember about her quote unquote open relationship is when he had sex with one of her friends, how painful it was, and how I would hear her and her friends talking and her crying about how painful it was that with all the women he could have screwed, why did he have to pick one of her friends? I missed that part. But I thought in my mind that I could somehow handle just being his friend, and then not even realizing that he monopolized my time. Every weekend I went to his house, and when you talk about the money and everything, I never carried a wallet when I was with him. Only thing I needed was my ID and some lipstick, because it wasn't nothing else. I didn't need nothing else because he took care of everything.
He didn't allow you to leave nothing at his house.
Oh no, I could do that.
Didn't.
But this was the thing. No, but this was the thing. The thing was, is it even wasn't even that. It was so much. It was about control.
Yeah.
See, what I didn't realize is he was controlling everything. He was controlling when we spent together. He was controlling what we did.
Yep.
He was controlling when things were good. He was controlling when we went on vacation, where we went on vacation, all of those things. All of that was under his control. And he dangled it in front of me like the good times. And let me tell you this, when you talk about that addiction, the addiction was
Noreen, I gotta go.
good. Oh my God, how you know? The good days. Listen, you be chasing that like the first crack hit. I'm telling you, you be chasing it, okay? Because you looking for that smile, you looking for that warm feeling, that hug, the smile, all of those things. You're looking for that, and you keep chasing it like it's coming, and it's not.
Never coming back.
It's never coming back, just like that first hit. Listen, it's over. It's not coming back. You're not getting that back again.
Honeymoon is over.
But people don't realize it, and it's such a valuable lesson. But now at this age, again, that's why you never knew that person.
You know, the women that I had relationships with, I mean, we met in a bar. Most of the time she was a barmaid or something. But I was always honest, you know, because I tell them that, you know, I'm going back to jail. It's just matters when they catch up with me, you know what I'm saying? And we were in what I would consider upper class. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You know, our little things were, you know, bills, and, you know, I help out when I can, you know, but I don't know what a relationship really means. All I knew is I spent time with her, I enjoyed it, and when it was over, and I didn't take it personal.
See, well, and most people don't have, well, you actually, in a lot of ways, is probably blessed, because a lot of the other shenanigans and games that go on in relationships, and I'm sure, Chris, in your situation, it was a lot of gaming.
Yeah, I just thought more of myself than what I should have. That was the truth of it. I didn't take it serious. I thought because when I was in the life doing that attracted her, I didn't realize that when I changed my life, that was going to make her not be liking me the same. Right?
Whoa.
I couldn't understand that.
Whoa,
that
okay.
My whole paradigm, because I was like, I'm coming home, I'm doing this, I'm getting a job, I'm handling my business. That was a turn. She liked the other.
She liked the other life. Okay, and listen,
She fell in love with
she
fell in love with the other person.
She did. That person died. When I paroled, I said,
That's what,
coming home
she fell in love with the other
she
person.
didn't know what that looked like. I didn't know what that looked like, but I was staying on the course of not going back.
Right.
See, because she didn't spend all them days. It's interesting because, you know, we always talk about, you and I always talk about how we did all them days of time, right? But one of the things that I know is true is that when people come home, there's an identity crisis.
Right.
Because the person that went into prison is never the person that comes out of prison. Never. And you cannot be who you were when you were in prison. Why? Because that universe only exists behind the walls.
No, but see, she got addicted to his lifestyle.
Oh well, yeah, she had a whole she had a whole.
She got addicted to that lifestyle. When you get addicted to that lifestyle, that's a very
Well, that's a high.
It is.
Yeah, it is a
That's
habit,
a
but
high.
it's something that you get addicted to.
Because
It's an adrenaline rush.
for
It's an
him
adrenaline
too.
rush.
But then when he finally decided, after doing all them years in prison, like I did, when I came home,
But you gotta remember, he changed, he grew. She didn't.
Right.
That's
the thing.
that was
That's the
thing.
difference. I see the lady with the hand, the lady back there with the
He
hand. Wait a
figured
minute,
out
y'all.
life is more than just this.
But she didn't change on that level yet.
What the
She
lady
ain't
with the
gonna
hand
change.
say?
So that's the beauty of a woman who had a man that was incarcerated, and he's done a substantial amount of time to come and figure out why his penis don't get hard no more.
Uh-huh.
And he hasn't worked. And it's hard to get.
Wow.
Keep telling him what's wrong with you, when you gonna get your own place,
Right.
when you go. Okay, there's barriers that come up for people who come out of
Yes.
incarceration. So all she's worried about is like when he's saying, "Give me the lifestyle I have," or what's going. We need some money, and yeah, and they need to understand that it's
But that's,
hard.
yeah, but those are women that's not mature yet.
No, she was promoting toxic masculinity.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Because she was rich. At some age, she learned what a man is supposed to be. A man is supposed to be toxic. Period.
Yeah.
And if you're not that, you're a pussy.
Right.
You're a punk.
Right.
You not taking care of me or none of that. You're not a man. So sometime if a man is feeling some kind of way about that, they go back and they have to show, I am a man. This is what men do. I am supposed to honor. I'm supposed to, not honor. I'm supposed to protect
and
you. I'm
provide.
supposed to do this, So we're promoting
Yeah.
that because that if we can promote you being that, we're feeling like, okay, you're gonna be rewarded because I somewhat
I got
made
his
it.
back. I made him.
And so that's one of the reasons why when we come in the door, it's like when you saying you had all the money, and I'm switching the ashes because I'm finna do something. I'm finna try to be the Jezebel to get him, you know what I'm saying? And I'm
Absolutely.
trying to find you're Samson. I'm Delilah. Find what I gotta do
That's
in
right.
order to get your strength to be just a little exposed so I can come and get you.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. It's a vicious circle. But this all happened way back when you know what I mean? So now it's time to.
So now
it's I'm into some different things.
Yeah.
It's patriarchy at its finest, and it's toxic masculinity, and
Right.
nobody's talking about this.
Right.
No.
Right.
The reason why they're not talking about it, this is what I talk to a lot of brothers about.
What man want to be
When
a
I talk
feminist?
to them.
Shame.
What man want to show vulnerability?
What man want to be a feminist? So
There ain't nothing wrong with that.
But
That's a fact.
but
That's right.
but
It's
a lot of
nothing to
men
it.
tend to
That's
go
what
wrong.
I'm gonna need you guys to check out the feminists of self-blockade. Okay, it's on YouTube right
I
now.
will check that out.
Check it out.
Yeah,
So-
I check it out.
But what you saying, you're an anomaly. Like
Right.
I had a cousin, 27. I'm having a full blown out argument with him about not falling back into that toxic. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
At 1 o'clock in the morning. Okay.
Mhm.
At 5 o'clock in the morning, he was because he was telling me not taking care of me and my kids. Because he didn't want to be a punk, because he didn't want to be the tattletale. He didn't tell who killed the boy. Even though he didn't kill the boy. And at 17, he's locked down in LA County Jail in High Power, you know, and he's He's 5'9", and by 19, by the time he made it to prison on a deal, he was 6'7". And he, you know, when he came home, he did right before the 3 strikes. He took the deal, so he did 7.5 years. He came home at 26, and from 26 to the day he committed suicide, he was always trying to fight that toxicity. And I would tell him, you gotta fight it. You have to fight it. And he's telling me, you know, you a girl. And I'm telling him, you know, it do matter, but it don't matter because I'm the oldest. He's the second oldest. I've been watching the same thing. Your lens might look a little different, but I'm telling you, if you do not, you will not survive. And I'm telling you, through all of that, and I'm sitting there having this hell of a conversation with him, going back and forth with him, and he hung up in my face. And I thought to myself, he got it, you know, he mad, but he gonna get over it. And but what was going on, what was going on in that house, you know, and she was, you know, you ain't a man because you ain't out here selling that dope. You ain't a man because you ain't bringing this money in. Me and my kids need to be taken care of, and you ain't gonna take care of us. Then I'm gonna find somebody to take care of us. And between 1 and 5, she brought the ex-boyfriend back into the house and to shame him and to do these things. And I never could get him back on the phone, but I got the phone call at 5 o'clock that he's locked up in the house with her. The kids had jumped out the window, and I'm like, damn. And I get there, and you know, it's maybe 5 or 6 of us head to the scene, and I get there, and the police are like, well, we heard a shot, she jumped out the window, you know, we trying to make contact. And I said, he's gone. How do you know? I said, because the last conversation before last night that I had with him was that he was never going back. Okay. And I looked at his eyes, and I knew. I was 4 years older than him, and I knew. I said, he's gone. Yeah. And they, him and Hodge, what happened? I watch Commander. I'm going in. If he wasn't dead then, he damn sure dead. Now we 4 hours into this. But my point is that we don't understand, you know, we as women, and not all women, because I totally understand. That's right. But we get into that, what you said. I want what went in. I don't want what came out. I want to go back what it was. And it's like you said, she wasn't doing the time with him. She, you know, I don't know anything about your wife. But she sounds like she wasn't doing the time with you. She didn't go in for the long haul, because in the long haul, we all know if you're selling drugs, if you stealing, if you robbing, the only place you're gonna end up is dead or in jail. And you gotta get past that toxicity in order to get to what you will consider to be your best life, whether you get 5, 10, 15 years, you got to get past all of that. And even though society doesn't give us all the tools to get there, we as a community can get there, but we got to be on the same page. And I'm gonna come right to you, but it's one of the reasons that we do Free to Heal, is because there's some people out there that don't know. And they don't have anybody telling them, they don't have anybody sharing this kind of information. This is why I want people to understand, and why it's good for example, for this gentleman just coming home, for you to hear, yeah, you're going to have an identity crisis. You're going to have to figure out, when they tell you, figure out who you are on this side of the wall, but you decide who that is. Don't let nobody else try to tell you what that should be or who you should be, and that you ain't this if you ain't that. Because let me tell you something. One of the things I found out is that when people go to jail and they go to prison, the legend of whoever they are grows. Whether you was the best, if you was a good dude, you was the best ever. If you was a monster, you was the worst monster ever. The legend grows every week that you gone, okay? So when you come home, people have their own agenda of who they want you to be, how they want you to show up. If you was a provider, if you was the one making the money in the hood and you was providing and feeding people, they can't wait for your ass to get home because they need to eat and they tired of trying to make it on their own, and they waiting on you to come back and make that bread, make it rain, right? If you was the gunner. Right. If you was the gunner, they looking for you to be that. But guess what? You just did however long you did in the pen. You ain't trying to be that person no more, because guess what? They wasn't there doing the time for you. You see what I'm saying? They wasn't there. Right.
That's the transition most women have to make on their own.
Mm-hmm.
I was in it for the long haul from day one. That's what I signed up for. So this is what I got to do. But then when you get locked up, and all that stuff came to a halt, because that's what it does. It comes to a halt.
Yes.
It comes to a halt. The fast way, the fast moving, everything comes to a halt.
Yes.
So now you got to put in your mind, okay, now I sure can't leave my kids. I got 3. I can't leave my kids. He's already gone. I gotta stand up now. I gotta grow up. Even if he ain't gonna grow up because he's in the pen, I'm out here. I gotta grow up for my kids. I took the role of the responsibility to be a responsible parent, to get the 2 jobs, to hold all of us down. So when you get out on this side, that it came to a halt, I need to stay at a halt, because now you need to be here with us and the kids. See what I'm saying? One of us gotta do it. You can't do it because you in there. I gotta do it. So that's the role I took on. Like I said, I was in it for the long haul and I did my part. Now it's up to you when you get out to do your part. I'm not gonna lead you over here on this side because I don't need to be on that side no more, because it was already hard enough when you was gone. It wasn't peachy and cream. It was hard, but I made it work. I made it look easy, but it wasn't never easy, but I made it look like that. But a woman gotta be woman enough to understand exactly what just happened to her too.
Yes, because when you're holding it down like that, you know, we only know to hold it down. We on a treadmill trying to survive.
That's all I was trying to do.
We don't know. I'm not gonna go to April, then I'll come to you, but we don't know anything other than survival at that point. Okay, all we know how to do is keep moving. We running, and so we controlling things because we don't have no choice, not because we wanted to or because we just like being in control, but we don't know how to do nothing else. All we know how to do is what we've been doing to keep it moving. You wanted to say something?
Well, I was gonna say, as far as what he was talking about, what they was talking about is, you know, sometimes it's a trap. You know what I mean? After doing all that time, it's like, did you love me? Did you really, you know, what did you see me as? Somebody who you could just throw away and dispose of, and then I'll just go get another one until I come back and get with you. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
Go to jail.
You certainly going to ask the questions.
Right. So, one of the things that we do, the organization that I work for now, is called Success Stories. And you heard of them?
I think so.
I heard a little bit about it.
It's a bunch of feminists, man, and they're all men, they're all former lifers, and they consider themselves feminists. The reason why is because it's equal. You know, open the door. If you say if your back is messed up, right?
And it is.
Okay.
And it is.
And you have a partner, and you guys are traveling, and she coming with 6, 7 bags. Is it your job to carry your bags? But your back is messed up.
No.
It's whoever is
Capable.
capable of doing. One thing I love about the organization and I've been home longer than all of them. I've been home 5 years. Mostly all of them. Some of them still on parole. Nobody's been a long time.
And for the audience, how long did you do?
28 years.
Okay, so go ahead.
So one thing is one word that they use that I'm very like, I'm astonished at. Like, I'm like, damn, they never call their girlfriends their girlfriend or their wife. They only call them partners.
Yeah.
Because who's capable? That's like, if me and you go out here and I've been doing UFC my whole life and you're not a fighter, and somebody come and do something, the first thing everybody's gonna look at is for him to do something.
Right.
He's not capable.
Right.
But does that make you?
No.
But you are my even. You are my
yes.
And people get that confused. They think, the man is supposed to fight. You know, I have a younger brother. My brother, he been in and out. They call him Sam. He's from Compton. And I used to tell him, I say, when he used to go in and out, I said, what makes you a man? Because you could do time, fight, and have girls? That's the definition,
right?
You know what I mean? What is the definition of a man? The only difference between you and me is you got a penis and you could do. That's no difference.
Right.
It's not a difference. God made us equal. You are on an equal. Wow. What's going on with you guys? What's going on, sir?
Huh?
somebody was laughing. She was just trying to figure out what
I
was.
just want to have a conversation.
That was me. That was me, Lionel, because I agree with you when a lot of people think they're men because they think that because they hard or they can fight or they are more stronger than the female or whatever the reason may be, they be thinking they're man. And to me, that don't mean you're a man. You're just a male to me. And I agree with you, what you're saying. That's why I was laughing.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I totally agree with you.
A man and a woman should have their priorities, period. They should be there to groom and nurture a person into a productive person, period. You know what I'm saying? It's not some people they're not capable. If I make more money than you, does that make you less of a man?
No, see, that's the thing.
So if I come in your house and every night you're washing dishes, maybe you like washing dishes. But
right.
If your boy see you, it's like, oh man, you over there doing. But this man likes to, you know what I mean?
And he does what he does. But you wanted to say something.
Yeah, my sister, her son got arrested for drugs, and his wife talked him into committing suicide.
Oh wow.
You know, she said he wasn't a man and this and that, and he went out in the garage and killed himself. What you were talking about, now I don't know him, but for what you said, I hope that dude took her out with him.
He did.
No, but I'm thinking, I'm sorry, but I'm thinking.
I mean, the general consensus, my family, but you know, what I explained was, he told her he was gonna kill her, but his heart told him that he couldn't. Because he was pacing the hallway. And he knew the police were there. You know, her son had jumped off the window. And so the son went to the neighbor's house, and the neighbors called the police, and the police had been there for, a couple of hours before we even knew anything was happening. And I knew that he knew better. As much pain as he was in, I know that he knew better because she bred that toxicity in him, but ultimately
she should have went out with him.
And ultimately it was still his decision.
But
you know what,
that's my opinion.
I understand. He turned his back on her. I feel like on purpose.
Yeah.
When he turned his back, she jumped out that window. And he had 2 hours to kill her.
He let her go. He let her off the hook. He let her off the hook. And I just gotta say to Chris, like, you just sparked such a wonderful conversation tonight. You sparked a wonderful conversation because there's so much of it going on. One of the things that I always get and I come back to is this. We gotta pay attention to what's going on with us. We're responsible for our heart. When you talk about being responsible for teaching people how to treat you, you do that by what you accept and what you engage in, what you participate in. You have no right to let me say this, it's your divine right, but more than that, your divine responsibility to protect your heart, to protect your integrity, to protect those things about you that mean the most to you. That's your job. That's nobody else's job. So somebody was telling us one week they couldn't figure out why the family didn't want to get together with them when they came home from prison, because they got lives. They got stuff to do, and they don't have nothing to do with how they feel about you. That's just the way life is, okay? So everybody is functioning, right? Everybody's functioning to get by. It's hard for everybody. It's no easy road for no. I always say this: ain't no such thing as a free ride in a fancy car, okay? Cash, gas, or grass, or ass. Nobody rides for free, okay? It don't matter. You got to pay something somewhere along the way, even if it's nothing but just your time.
I ain't getting in your truck no more.
Shut up. Even if it's just your time, everybody you gotta give up something. The natives, I just don't even know what I suffer being here. People I know, you just don't even know. I'm gonna tell you, I suffer with them every week. Michael, you know I suffer with them every week. You know what I'm saying? But I wouldn't have it no other way. Because again,
It's the thing that keeps me sane. It reminds me of these principles all the time, and it keeps them in my forefront. It's the one thing I love about facilitation. I'm never going to forget the principles because we talk about them all the time. So when something comes up in my life, I had a situation this weekend.
You got bango.
Shut up.
Oh, okay.
Another situation that caused me to put a principle in operation, which is state my position. State my position and let it be known. That way there's no confusion about where I stand on a particular issue. And then it's up to everybody else to do what they do with that. I'm not responsible for how you feel about my choices that I'm making for my life. I'm not responsible for that. Knowing what I'm responsible for, that's why when I tell people that come home, people are going to have all kinds of expectations of you. You got to decide which ones you want for yourself and which ones fit you. Because let me tell you something, just by the passage of time, and some people mature and some people want to move on and some people don't, right? Just by the passage of time, things are different. Right. But I want to say this too. I don't want anybody to think that Chris's wife was wrong for not wanting the new guy.
No.
I want y'all, right? Because it was something that kept coming back to me and I kept letting everybody else talk. But I want everybody to understand this. She didn't sign up for the new dude.
No.
She signed up for the old dude. And that's who she signed up for. And if that's who she want, let her go. But this ain't him no more. And so it's not good for him. She's not. So when you get in a relationship, whatever y'all sign up for, that's what you sign up for. I have been in a situation where I was in a situation that had a dude and I wanted things to change. And we have been doing the same thing the same way over decades, literally. Okay. We would hook up between relationships. Okay. I decided that I actually wanted a relationship. And I told him, and he told me, you know what? You always been my special little thing on the side. And I kind of like you right there. I was like, guess what? I was the one that set that shit up years ago, though. That was the cold part. All that little secret shit on the side, they was my words coming back at me, y'all. That was some gaming shit I spent 20 years ago. Okay? And he liked it like that. Okay? And now I had to live with that. You see what I'm saying? I couldn't even be mad at him because he wanted what we set up years and years ago. He liked it like that, and he didn't want nothing new. You see what I'm saying? Listen, and look, it was just fine with him, just the way it was. Yeah. Between relationships, we hooked up, and that was it. And he didn't want, and I was his little secret. I didn't come to his house around his kids. He didn't come. None of that stuff, right? And it was painful, but he was right. He had a right to that, is what my point is. And that's what I'm saying. That's why I wanted to be clear for anybody listening. She was not wrong for not wanting the new. She wasn't obligated because that's not who she signed up for. You see what I'm saying?
Want to go back to jail, so
guess what? And so they needed to part ways. And he finally got to the place where he realized this ain't gonna work because I'm not going back to being that person, which you had every right to decide. Right?
And he wasn't wrong either.
And he wasn't wrong either. And that's the thing.
They're always looking for the blame.
Right. There is none.
To be honest with you, they both did good because they said what they wanted and neither one of them agreed. So instead of people trying to shove a square in a circle.
That's right. That's right. And that was the thing. And so that's why, again, I just have to thank you for this. I want to give you, Michael, an opportunity to check out for me. Anything that stood out to you tonight?
Yeah, it just, it kind of go back. Which one are you talking about?
Michael. There's only one Michael on here.
Now, what I was saying is, it just for me, I just go back to some of our other meetings when we talked about comfort zones and knowing who you are and stuff like that. And I just think when we get stuck in those relationships, it become a comfort zone for us. Yeah. And we don't, a lot of times, we don't know who we are, so we find ourselves in the other person, or and that's how we be getting stuck in those relationships.
Absolutely. Thanks for sharing. Lionel, anything, last comments you want to share with us? Lionel?
Okay. things stick out for me, especially like people expect me, like you said, they expect me to get out and be there like Robin Hood for them and do the things I was doing in the past for them. They don't realize that I had changed into a positive way of life. And they wanted to throw a party for me when I was getting out. And I told them, no, I don't want no party. I only want immediate family, my positive family. I didn't want to be around negative people. And then she was saying about the men thing. I ran across a lot of people, males, call themselves men, try to justify themselves as men. And what she said was right on point. That's why I started laughing, because the same thing I was telling them, they said that she said the same thing about, you know, you're not a man because you could beat people up or you look tough or stuff like that. And it's like, it made me smile, you know, the point is like, wow, you know, I'm not the only one to see things like that. And
To
then
see
when
it
it
that
comes
way,
to men and
yes.
women, I look at them as equal. Yeah, I look at them as men and women as equal. Whatever a man can do, a woman can do. I see no you know, no favoritism in that, right? Because it's like they have the right to do whatever, man. Like these men running around with no shirts on. Well, I'm like, why can't a woman do that? You know, it's like women, that men through the history of time, they always treating women less than human beings and stuff like that. And so a lot of the things y'all was saying do resonate with me, stuff.
Wonderful. I'm glad that you enjoyed it, and I hope you'll be here next week with us again.
I
Sir,
will.
any final thoughts from you?
I will.
I hope y'all get as much out of these meetings as I do.
Yeah.
And call 911 because he's threatening
You
me.
know what? You know what? Let me tell you something. And tell her, and make sure y'all give him the right address, and it's Suite 180, okay? Because I may have to do him something, okay? Any final comments from you, sir?
Just remember one thing. They don't call him one man and you man, because man is mine and mine is man. If you can think, she can think. And both of y'all are equals. And my last thing is, man, court your girl, homie. Court your girl. Because guess what? It's gonna be things that you gonna figure out that's not as you thought it was. And y'all get to know each other before somebody get in trouble. Because I just walked away from a relationship that I saw was toxic.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw myself getting back in a police car because she wants to argue with me and tell me who I'm not. I get up every day and go to work. I love it. I'm not gonna stop doing it because that keeps me out of prison.
Mm-hmm.
And it keeps my check going.
Oh,
and
Lord.
it keeps his check going.
Oh, Lord. Ma'am.
I have a lot to say. It's very important for people to actually understand people who have been incarcerated for years and come home, because we don't come out the same people. And I always say we have one up on the world, because it's a lot of people will never enter incarceration, and we're survivors and we're warriors. But I also say what James said, I promote not getting in a relationship when you come home, because you don't know yourself when you come home. They certainly don't know you. And it's like, you got to know what you like on this side before you can tell somebody what you like about them.
And you're also obligated to know what it is that you like, because you have to communicate that. That is your responsibility, to be able to articulate what you do and do not want. But the only way to do that is for you to know that yourself. Mm-hmm. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so I agree with what you're saying, and what all you guys are saying. My thing is, we take our time. We don't owe anybody anything. I came home paying debts to everybody who even looked like they, even sent me a hello through somebody else. I came home, I put myself in financial debt because it was almost like, it was June, but at Christmas time, I had to buy everybody a gift to show that I missed them, I loved them, whatever. I've been in 2 relationships since I've been home, and both of them was relationships that I was in before that I dogged them out. So I felt like I owed them something. And I went back in and became miserable in both of them.
Wow. Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Because I felt like I paid my debt to society. Now let me pay my debt to these relationships. We don't owe nobody. And it's just, I'm hearing myself right now. I don't owe nobody anything. You know what I'm saying? I owe me. And through me, if my heart want to be generous and give you love, give you whatever it is, I can do that, but I am not bound to do it.
Hallelujah. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. Last thoughts from you, my dear?
I just want to say I appreciate the village because I'm on the other side of the walls, and you know, I have my own thoughts and things that they're really not that far off from you guys. So, you know, just to let you know, I don't feel like it's the prison walls that separate us.
Right.
It is that time that separates us. But I always think about the village, and what I tell my kids is the village. I tell my kids, and I tell my friends, and I tell other people. I've told these ladies, always be a part of the village, because when you're a kid, the village is supposed to be pouring itself into you. And as you get older, you then pick up a responsibility as a teenager and then a young adult and so on to give back to the village. But I don't think that anybody stops taking from the village. And I think the village is very important. So I try to always give back, because even on your day of reckoning, whether you're buried or whether you're cremated or what have you, that ceremony that you have, those people gathering, is still that village. And so I think the village is very important for everybody.
Awesome. Sir, thank you for your first time here, and thank you for contributing so much. And any last thoughts or comments from you?
Yes, what's your name?
Tony.
Tony.
Uh-huh.
What stood out to me was when Tony was sharing about remembering the first day about it. And I realized it was a reminder to me how those five senses, what I remember hearing, seeing, touching, tasting, shaped me as a young person. And it caused me to make certain decisions out throughout my life. And for me to become a healthier person, I had to go dig deep and address those root causes of what allowed me to be who I am. And that's why I'm a different person today. So I just want to say thank you for that, sister.
Absolutely.
So
Thank
awesome.
you.
That's so awesome. Dear.
Okay, tonight conversation with everybody as usual was nice. It was informative, but all I want to say to everybody is never be ashamed of yourself. Never be ashamed of the feelings that you have, good or bad, because they are yours and your responsibility alone.
And again, I'm Noreen McClendon, and this is Freed to Heal, and we do this every week. We do it for people who are here, for people who are not here. This is for us because all of us either have done time or were the loved one of someone or the child of someone who was incarcerated. And there are scars that come from being affiliated or having to be a part of that system. It's designed to destroy us. And we're determined here at Freed to Heal that that's not going to happen. We're not going to let people that come home go on their own. There are people all across this country that may not get to come to a group like this. So I want to make sure that people have an idea of what's going on, and to know, if nothing else, there's somebody else that's going through what you're going through. When you got to chuckle off of what she said, because it's, you know what, there is somebody else that felt like, that thinks like you think. We do this for everybody. It is the most comforting thing in the world, is to know that it's not just me.
Yes, you're not alone.
I'm not alone. I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one that's had this experience. I'm not the only one that felt this pain. And more importantly, also, I also want to try every week to give actual things that we can do that can help us to heal. Not just talk about the pain, but talk about how you get past that pain. What's the mindset? What's the actual steps that you take? And for me, you're going to always hear me talk about taking responsibility, and taking responsibility for my own behavior. And the more I looked at myself and what I was willing to participate in, and asking myself, why did I participate in that?
Why did you hit?
Why did I think that was okay? Why did I hit you? Because you need to be hit. Okay. That's why I hit him, because he needed to be hit. And even though his mama and daddy like to fight, they should have whooped his little butt a little bit more. They should have whooped him a little bit more. But anyway, but I'm really big on the answers to all of our questions, problems, and successes are right within us.
Don't look at the other person. As long as you're looking at the other person, you're never going to get the answers for you. And I just want to thank everybody. Check us out on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Check us out anywhere on social media. We ask you, leave comments, questions, topics that you want us to have. And I just want to say thank you, everybody. And we'll see you next week.
Good night.
See you guys next week.